Yo!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 17 of the ProNo show. This is the show, the game debate show. We basically get game-related topics and hash it out here, and then it's up to you to decide whether you're pro or no on whatever topic we choose. Today's topic is going to be female gaming leagues, whether we need a separate one or whether they should just be co-ed. On the couch, we got Joe.
Hi.
We got Martin.
What's up?
I got my boy Neil on the producer's chair taking notes.
Hello.
On Skype, we got Kaya, Muffin Button, and Tiger Lily making a return as our female perspective. Thanks for being on the show, ladies.
Hello. No problem.
All right. So, we're going to be talking about the female league. When we get to open up the polls, it's going to be !vote 0 for pro female league. And then it's going to be !vote 1 if you say no female league, that they should just be co-ed. So, I'm going to start off with just a basic question to start defining whether or not this has to happen. The first question is, are there any advantages or disadvantages attributed to either gender for gaming? Let's get this out of the way.
I hear sighs from Skype, so
Yeah.
I want to hear.
Let's let the ladies go first.
Multitasking.
Yeah. Women, for some odd reason, can multitask way better than men.
Right. And I physically, like scientifically, I will agree. That is the case.
We love you, but you're slow.
And I wouldn't even say like it's a thing of speed. It's just you're like physically, like you're wired to handle doing multiple things at the same time. So in that respect, like especially for a game like League of Legends, it's a big deal. Like,
so it almost sounds like if that is something that's going to be a significant thing, it would be on a game by game basis.
I mean, but
Because some things are like straight up run and gun.
No league exists by a game basis though. Besides like Riot.
Yeah,
Gaming
I'm just saying
But-
that advantage doesn't necessarily have to show up in every game.
I guess. Go ahead.
It's not all females, though, that can multitask. I know some men who can, too, and some women who can't.
Yeah, definitely. I can't.
But is
I'll tell you
multitasking
right now, I
really
can't.
an advantage for gaming?
Absolutely. When it comes
Yes.
to it's-
Yep.
imagine with
Definitely.
like Smite or League of Legends or hell even StarCraft. Like, that's
What's
a pretty
the
big
second
deal.
task? Playing the game is the task.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I think that's the one thing that guys actually, they don't consider it multitasking, and their brain just kind of works it out. Because like
whether or not you consider it doesn't.
no, I'm
change
saying
it,
I'm saying like I don't think your body considers it, and then you do well because your body isn't thinking that it's multitasking. You are focusing on it because you're tricked into thinking it's one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that like you. I guess you can physically or mentally think, oh, okay, well, this is multitasking. But whether or not you think that is or isn't, it is like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I understand like
I understand.
you could be tricking your brain to thinking like, oh, okay, well, this is I'm just doing this and I'm focused on doing this, but this means checking the minimap, making sure you buy the right items, making sure that you're constantly looking back at the minimap to see like where people are.
But I think that's
like
all kind of competitive
Yeah.
things. They're usually multifaceted. There's lots of things going on, especially when it's when you're competing against people real time, not taking turns or anything like that.
Like, can I add to this? Like to me, multitasking for just specifically League of Legends. I'm just saying because that's just what I have more experience at. To me,
Joe,
multitasking is where, like Joe said, you're looking at the mini map, you're looking at your map, you're looking at what you're doing on the map, you're looking at what the enemies on the mini map, what they're doing. You're taking it you're being aware of your cooldowns of your abilities and your summoner spells, which are aka trinkets, because they're on a long cooldown. On top of that, you're taking advantage of objectives, map objectives that are worth team incentives. On top of that, you're being on top of the enemy's cooldowns, not just yours, theirs. And you're on top of, in charge of what the enemy is doing so you can report it back to the team, all while micromanaging with your hands and fingers simultaneously.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say just for specifically League of Legends, I think there is no advantage between male or female. Some can do it better than me. There's some females. There's that professional
So
legal
guys
edge
can
that
probably
you
do
know,
better than you too.
and some guys can do it way better than me. There's proven because they're in the professional league and I'm not.
Yeah.
But you know, for that, like that's to me like multitasking or that, like doing that is anybody. I think anybody can do that if they could do it if they just practice at it, at you know for
Do you-
legal.
My question to you,
Sure.
physically, do you think that there is a ceiling, or I guess a ceiling on the capacity of a guy versus a female, like in that regard? Like, do you think that at a certain point a guy just literally there's just too many things that like he can't like focus on? Or
There's
do you,
like to me
Ooh,
ceiling.
shiny.
To me, like I've been gaming for a long time. I've been really gaming for a really long time since Counter-Strike 1.6, and like I'm surprised I could still go at it at this level at my age. But like when I play League of Legends, just specifically League of Legends, I notice my elbow starts to hurt, just my right hand, my dominant hand, and my no. But I'm saying,
You get that
saying.
carpal tunnel.
my back.
Well, I'm saying no. Yes, a little
Oh
bit
God,
of my back. But I'm just saying,
I'm
no,
having
but I'm
Barry
just saying-
Sanders
because-
flashbacks.
No, but I'm just saying. You guys know.
Yeah.
Competitively, I'm just saying, as an esports athlete or whatever, lead if you believe them, they're an athlete.
Competitor.
Or if you don't, just if you play competitive, you don't have a long career.
That's right. That's
So-
very true. Yeah.
So what I go by ceiling, it's do you have the determination to put in the hours? Do you have like even if you fail, are you willing to come back? You know, get back up. Are you willing to deal with the negative feedback that you're gonna get from your coaches? I mean, it may not be. It's just constructive. Or with Reddit, we're like, oh wow, I'm going for this team, but this X player played bad. Now I'm just chewing that person out, regardless if you're male or female. Can you handle the pressure and can you step up? Because you have to, regardless. At the end of the day, bottom line is you are playing for a company or a team,
Right.
and they want results. They don't care what's your background, where are you from. Can you perform at that
Yeah,
level?
yeah,
And if
that's-
you can, you're on the team. If you can't, you are cut. They will
Yeah.
find a replacement.
Yeah, it's
That's
all
that- yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Stuff.
that's on that's how I see it on the so for the maximum ceiling is how long can you do it?
Yeah.
You know, if you're lucky to play it for a long time, because the career.
Well, can you do it and how long can you
Yeah,
do it?
and how long can you do it at
Now,
at a high level? At a high level.
That brings up a very cool point. So these are companies that are sponsoring these teams, and yes, they care about the results, but they care about the results. Why? They only care about the results because people who place better pull more publicity. Thus, they pull more publicity for their product. They're better advertisers.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So that's the reason why they care about results. Now, with this kind of being new, I wonder if we'll see one of those companies put on a female player for the sole purpose of the publicity.
Yeah,
Like,
it's true.
regardless of whether or not she's good or
Or
bad.
it doesn't even
that
have
will happen.
just because they're like,
Absolutely.
oh, so we can get some.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to. It doesn't even have to be a female player. Anyone that is gonna stand out for some reason and pull like a Dennis Rodman, and he's just he creates a lot of controversy, so that's publicity. Sponsors are gonna
Well,
buy into that too.
like-
But yeah, I feel like a female might be exploited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like that too.
What was that?
she will be for like advertisement purposes and things like that. When you think about for the female, they're probably going to give her very specific equipment, very specific controllers, maybe like more girly because she's going to be advertising to a completely different audience
Right.
than the males are. And they're probably going to pick out like her clothes and her accessories that she's wearing and things like that too. She'll absolutely be exploited.
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that happens all the time.
This
it.
Yeah.
What kind of?
Well,
Do you think that is a bad thing? Does it not matter? Like what? Like, I'm really curious to see because this I guess is gonna kind of snowball into the rest of the
Yeah,
talk. So do you think that something like that is acceptable? I guess.
Well, to be completely honest, like in my opinion, I don't necessarily agree with it or like it, but at the same time, I mean, you know, you see these pro gamers that walk out onto the stage and they got their jeans and their t-shirts and their zip-up hoodies. I mean, you don't really see girls walk out like that anywhere in the public. Like, I feel like it's just because it's a standard. It's not even just because they're going to exploit them and give them like cleavage-clad, you know, outfits and stuff like that. It's just that's kind of how it is.
I
I
mean,
don't know. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, because like as a sex,
Oh.
we care more
Sex
about
sells.
appearances
Yeah.
and things like that. Absolutely.
So I feel like it's not really going to be that bad if it gets to that point. I know it'll happen. It already does happen. There's definitely some streamers out there that I see that they definitely take
Look at
advantage of that.
streamers.
Oh, you're talking-
Look
okay.
at, like Ronda Rousey right now, and like look at like what she's done. Look at her in the last 2 years. She's almost looks like a completely different person now.
Definitely.
From things like
Yeah.
that.
Definitely.
Now you bring that up, and I remember seeing this picture, and I'm trying to pull it up here as quick as possible.
Ronda Rousey.
What-
No, not of Ronda Rousey. It was
Ronda baby.
It was Hong Kong's first female team, and it was for them to play. I think it was for League of Legends. Okay,
I want to see that.
and
I actually want to see this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had it there. I don't know if Neil
And
can
just copy
pull
the
it up.
arrow and put it
I
in
can
chat?
copy the link and put it in chat. I'll do that.
Okay.
They are wearing like hoodies and things like that. Like they're pretty much running the exact same.
Yeah, that's what I'd
Get up.
imagine it would be.
Um,
Yeah.
That they. I mean, they're wearing skirts and like short shorts and stuff, but like that's
When I said exploiting, I didn't mean like that. I just
Yeah.
meant the fact that they're a female. I didn't mean like try to exploit them wearing like showing cleavage and stuff like that. But that is
Yeah, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's what the world is going to do
Right.
because
Yeah.
sex sells, and guys, for some odd reason, which I don't understand why, think that we're not as good of gamers as they are, or that we only play pretty little games. Like I was told that I wasn't a girl because I didn't have a high score in some game called Cookie Clicker.
what cookie
What?
clicker?
I'm looking
Like,
at this picture
what
of the
is
girls
this?
in
I like cookies.
And
Well-
the China girls all are wearing skirts and
Right.
like short shorts,
Right,
and they
right.
have
Yeah.
their hair done and their makeup done, and they've got like necklaces,
right.
rings on their fingers, things like that. Like there was advertising put into that.
Right.
Like make no mistake about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you never see a guy go in like little tidy whities and being all sexified? They do that to girls only.
No,
It'd
you're
be
right.
freaking hilarious to see though.
This is David Beckham. No, just kidding.
Well, I think it's because it doesn't resonate.
It
No.
wouldn't sell.
It
Yeah,
It
No.
doesn't
I-
sell.
yeah.
Yeah, that's honestly what it
Yeah.
boils
Like-
down to is that doesn't make I'm trying to think like an advertiser money.
Yeah.
No, men in speedos
To-
is not attractive.
To answer your question about the exploit, there I don't know if you guys watch basketball or if maybe you heard the story of this that happened this past season, but my favorite team is the San Antonio Spurs. Spoiler, I don't like the Orlando Magic, even though I'm in Orlando.
It's
But-
because they're Mexican.
but
Shame
but
on you, Martin.
but last season, Greg Popovich, who's considered like the best NBA coach right now, currently active, he hired a female as an assistant coach, first female assistant coach in the NBA ever. And then this past summer, she promoted her to become the head basketball coach for the NBA Summer League, League D or Summer League.
Mhm.
And so she was the head coach in charge of NBA prospects, rookies, and veterans for the Summer League. And this past summer, they won the championship. And she was the head coach.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, like
Clapping.
going back, I'm just saying that's like I'm going to say this just like the exploit. I think it's a double-edged sword for both genders. I'm about to say both races, both genders.
Two races.
Reason why? Okay, let's just say if she didn't do good or she did good, regardless. Like even if she didn't win the champ, let's say she just made the summer league playoffs and went far deep, or just won one game in the playoffs. People are always going to have I know that everybody they're entitled to their opinion. They're going to say, maybe she's not ready for it yet. She just needs, they're going to give her, like, listen, it's okay. It's her first time she's a rookie head coach in the summer league in the NBA.
That's anybody.
Anybody would say that.
Regardless- Well, that's regardless of gender.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm saying there's that's the exploit. What I'm trying to say is, oh, wow, a woman can do that. There's got to be more women. We got to find them so we can hire, they could be assistant coaches. Or she didn't do good. They need, maybe she's not ready for the big times yet. Maybe, slow it down a little bit. Maybe she needs more, years under her belt. Maybe she'll get better. But she's doing all right. Same thing with the male, though. It's like the same thing. A big-time college prospect, big-time college coach comes to the NFL or the pro leagues, just to the pro leagues, and they just flat out can't coach the NFL. They go 0-10 or something. Oh, he's not ready for the big leagues yet. Go back to coaching boys, 18-year-old, 19-year-olds. Oh wow, this coach knows how to coach. He knows how to coach. We should be looking into the college coach, for colleges coaches to make sure that I think it's a double-edged sword, and it can be exploited whether you do. Like I said, it goes back to my first point. It's just it's how well you can do it, and basically just how well you can coach or whatever you're good at. If you can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And that's the exploit right there.
I'm gonna flat out ask the ladies on the panel. We'll start with you, Kaya. Do you think there should be a female only league, or should it be co-ed? And I'll go down the line.
Co-ed. I don't believe there should be female only. We are not any different than you guys.
I agree.
Yeah.
What? So
It's bull. It's pretty much what it is. They want to separate us, and why?
Tiger Lily, how do you feel?
I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and while I do think that there should be some co-ed leagues, I actually, and hear me out on this, guys, I think that having female gender-specific competition in gaming would be absolutely wonderful.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like you're going to grow that side of the community. You're going to get women who maybe aren't courageous enough to step up and play against the boys. Like you're gonna have a very warm and friendly environment, and you're gonna do something that like every one of these women like has in common. That
You can have
if you
friendlies.
grow it,
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
if you grow it on that side first, like, and I'm not saying not to do the co-ed because I think Kai's absolutely right, and we can do everything that you guys can do, and we can compete on that level. But having a female specific, whatever, whether it's League, whether it's Call of Duty, whether it's like how I do like JRPGs, whatever it is, having females like on its own will create a community, and I'm all about growing that side of the community.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that.
This is why we're friends, because I'm glad that you said that first.
Me too, Joe.
Like it has nothing to do with like really the gender side of things. It's more so of the community. Like that's what, because like right now it's more so. I can't say because I'm not a female, but I would imagine that it's not really inviting to go into like.
Well, that's going to be the next.
Yeah.
That's going to be the
sorry.
next point.
Go ahead,
Also,
You bring up a really good point, Joe, for sure.
Muffin Button, what do you feel?
Yes. I actually definitely agree with Tiger Lily there.
Okay.
I think both definitely have, a lot of pros to each. The biggest thing that I was thinking in my head as I was listening to you guys talk, though, is like, I mean, if you think about it, once the whole pro gaming thing came out, like, you have all these kids who play these games that are nowhere near pros at all, but they jump into that scene like crazy.
Right.
Like, they pull their friends into it, they get into it, they do fantasy leagues for these things, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Like, once you start pulling those female-only pro teams into it, you're going to get females all over the place that have been sitting there saying, God, I wish this has happened for so long.
Right.
And they're going to get so into it, they're going to tell their friends, they're going to have their own community, like, just like Tiger Lily was saying. Like, I agree so much with you. And at the same time, the co-ed thing would definitely be a good thing as well, because then you really do see, if a female does make it on the team, you're going to break those barriers of people who think, oh, men are so much better at these games than women, or, so many more men play these games than women do. But really, like, you're seeing so many more females jumping into these things. Like, we want to see what talent is out there.
Right.
Like, if there's a girl who can beat the shit out of a guy that's played League for his entire life.
This show's for a mature audience. You can.
I'm
Curse.
just, I don't want to be a bad influence if somebody's wandering in here. But
I never
but seriously, like, if there's a girl who can just beat the shit out of some dude who's been playing League since it's been out, like, all these women who've been waiting for that, they're gonna jump on that so fast, and they're all just gonna be so encouraged to show their skill and get out there in the community and do things with, whatever they're interested in. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited because I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to get bigger, and it's going to be awesome.
That's and we were talking about before off camera, the big comparison that the esports scene is making with right now is the chess scene. Granted, it's majorly in like Hong Kong, like in China, but they're making the comparison to North America, and you would think that that's probably a really close comparison to video games. It's a sport. It's considered a sport, but it's
an Olympic
not.
Sport.
It's an Olympic sport, but it's not a physical thing. Like it's not something that you're running half a mouth to do. Like, it's just a mental sport. Now, that being said, the people who run that made a female league, and they didn't make it because they're like, oh no, females will compete differently. It was for that exact same reason. Like, they wanted to make a community that made females a little bit more inviting for them, so that they, because I can get, like, if you go on Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, even on PC, it doesn't matter the game. The second it's annoying to me as a guy, and it doesn't initially affect me, but as a guy, it's annoying to me that the second a girl like speaks up, it's like, oh, we got a girl in the game, it's just like, what? Like, why is that even a thing? Yeah, it's like,
grill? Somebody's grill?
Like, it's so stupid. Like, you would think that.
I'd be like, somebody's grilling?
Yeah,
it's just like H1Z1.
Right.
You either think you're a girl or a 13-year-old boy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Way.
Yeah, that's another topic. That's another topic.
It's insane. It's insane.
And that goes.
I never thought of it that way though, ever. Yeah. I just think of it from the prospect or aspect of separating us, because we're not any different. The community would grow massively, because I have so many female friends who like to play video games but don't talk about it, don't do it, because they just get ridiculed.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the fact that it would grow and blossom and just, oh god, that was like the girliest thing. Blossom. But the fact that it would just like explode with so many different women would be amazing. But the fact that I'm still kind of wary on that, you know, men, not all, think that we're different, that we're less good, that we're not as great, and that we're gonna suck.
I honestly think that I agree with you. I understand where you're coming from. Like, I think by making the female only league, the people, the guys that are pig-headed already, it's gonna make them even more pig-headed about it. That they can't compete with us.
Well, they can only beat other girls.
That's the problem. Like, I don't think it's worth the hit, the like social hit, to grow the industry, as opposed to just going straight into it with the. If you're not comfortable enough to be around, to me, if you're not comfortable enough to be around guys playing games, then you don't love it as much. It's not as much of a passion.
No. That's not fair. That's 100% not fair. That's
No,
not fair, because that you're at that. I know you're not saying that, but like, in a sense, you're justifying or excusing the shitty behavior from. I know you're not excusing, but like by saying like that someone is like, oh well, you can't handle being around like these douchebags, like, and then I understand. You're more so saying to the fact
I'm looking at it more like civil rights. Jackie Robinson was brave enough to be on a baseball team, and he did it.
Right.
And you know what? Because he had the talent and the balls to do it.
Right.
And I think there's something very admirable about somebody that can go into a league, like to get past the comfort and be like, I'm gonna do this. To have that strength,
that's person's
amazing.
Strength, which is amazing, awesome. But what I'm saying is that person shouldn't need that kind of strength. That's not like, that shouldn't be something that like.
I agree that somebody shouldn't, but we live in reality.
I understand. Yeah, that's a utopian like kind of look on things. But
I mean, just look at the girl who competed in the Evo fighting tournament, and take a look at the shitty behavior when the guy totally blew her off because she whooped his ass. You know, like, that's always going to be there.
I didn't see that.
Period,
I want to
whether
see
you're
that.
female or male.
Yeah, I saw that. And the commentators, they got right on him after about for sportsmanlike conduct. You know, they got on.
Wait, did he get beat?
No, he got wrecked. He got wrecked,
yeah.
and he didn't. And he didn't shake hands or congratulate her or say good game. Or
was that because she was a girl, or was that because he's a shitty loser?
No. It wasn't.
It could be both. It could be both.
It wasn't just that. It was what he said off the mic, like to the people. Like when he got up. It was like, I can't believe I got beaten by a girl. Like that. It was something along that. And it was just like, once the fans didn't hear it, like the stream didn't really hear it. I mean, you could. It was really soft, but like it wasn't something that was super audible. Like when they are sitting right there in front of the screen. But once the commentators heard that, like, kudos to those guys. I wish I knew what their Twitter handles were because they had them up. But kudos to those guys. They were like, yeah, fuck that guy. Like that guy.
And I'm not trying to defend this guy, okay? But I can understand what happened, and regardless of what he did, it still was wrong. But anybody can make that mistake. You're like, for me, because I'm a very, very competitive person. Like,
Yeah.
I like to
You never
win.
hear a guy say
No, 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 no.
Oh,
I know.
I can't believe I'm
No, no,
not
no, no,
beating
no, no,
my
no, no,
guy.
no, no. But what I'm saying is like this. You see it all the time. It's just not with every guy. But there's guys who are very competitive. They lose, and it's like they just get upset, and they're not thinking in the moment. Like, because they're still like the adrenaline is still pumping.
not-
But
if you're
I'm not trying to
sponsored
defend
by
him.
somebody in an e-league, e-sport entertainment, you cannot speak like that.
I know
because
that.
that's
I'm
your
not
job.
trying to
Oh, no,
defend
no,
him.
no, no,
I'm
no,
not
no.
trying to defend for him.
I think he's trying to diagnose where that kind of speech is
like
coming
I'm like what I'm saying is I understand where he's coming from and why he did it, but I'm not excusing him for his actions.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I still think that it was wrong, but like I said, there are things like this. I'm just saying.
Well,
I'm just giving you an example.
Guys
like,
are
it is-
indoctrinated to feel that way.
yeah.
Like,
But I'm just saying, like it doesn't matter. It could happen to anybody. You could be playing a game and you just go, you lose and you just go, oh man, what the. Why did I lose or something like that? You show your emotions get the best of you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying in that particular moment. But he was wrong for doing that.
Can we just go back to the fact that for right now, for the most part, that gaming in general is very toxic as a community?
It is.
It is.
I think that life, like
internet
in
is-
general, is
yeah.
pretty toxic. Like
Yeah, but
just
with
human
gaming,
interaction.
because you can hide so
That's
well.
just the internet.
That's
no,
the
no,
internet.
but
Nobody
I
can
also
see your face and identify you. You can say whatever you want, and there's no repercussions because they can't really hunt you down.
Yeah.
but
Internet
I,
Rambos.
but I think it's also very toxic because of the age group that's in gaming. We're talking between as young as maybe 8 or 7 years old if you're that spoiled, up into your mid-teens, high teens. I know people who are over 40 still playing.
Oh well, yeah.
But most of it,
The average
most of
gamer's
the dominant population is between teenagers to mid-20s.
The average gamer is 31 years old.
No, but I'm like,
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Martin just called us old.
Yeah.
I didn't say old.
No.
I said 30. I am 31 years old.
but when
And
I'm,
Rick is so average.
You plug.
I'm just saying I'm average.
Check out this average beard.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that today's episode is
Brought to
sponsored
you
by
Just for Men?
excessive facial hair.
oh, I thought it was just for men.
Rick's beard is magnificent.
Thank you.
But the question you said about is should it be co-ed or not co-ed in what, in esports? In esports or just in general?
Oh, we were talking about just gaming.
Gaming?
Yeah. Esports.
In
Just- we're just
esports,
talking about that.
I think that it should be co-ed because I do not see that there's
Well,
an
honestly, we do have the beauty of not having to have one and the other. You can have multiple leagues.
There are multiple leagues.
Yeah,
that
I'm saying
exist,
like that stuff can coexist and it'll find its way. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think there should be one over the other. I mean, if somebody is not comfortable enough to be co-ed, then they should have that alternative.
Should they?
What should I? You were just arguing against me against that.
I know, but like what I'm saying is like, why if one of these things is the better thing?
There's no such thing. That's all
I mean,
subjective.
I guess.
Yeah.
Like, if what I'm saying is, so say for instance, we do have the separate leagues, and
But I'm not saying that the leagues would be treated equally.
okay,
One's gonna definitely rise above the other,
Yeah.
and that's the market.
yeah,
That's gonna be the market that distinguishes which one floats to the top.
After no spread your lies, cooties are a thing.
I'm concerned that like a female league is started, and immediately like you see a big decrease in like the normal advertising from like a male league, for the same thing that we talked about earlier, where
Oversex it.
well, that could be the case, but I doubt it, because most of the times when like a team like take Solo Mid or Cog9, like their outfits that they wear, like they don't design those, but they pick them. Like no person who they're sponsored by is saying, "Hey guys, wear these." Like that's not how it works.
Not yet.
Not yet. Now that could happen with the female league. I would hope that
That
it
will
wouldn't.
happen.
I don't
female
think it necessarily, because
I think it's gonna happen in the regular
the
league.
only
Just in all
possible way,
leagues.
the only possible way that could happen is if like some sponsors like, wear these, we will pay you a ridiculous amount of money.
And that's
to do
well,
But that's
where
what
you
happens
want-
in every other sport.
That's
I
the
think-
industry.
But that hasn't happened in the male league yet. Is what I'm saying. Is like don't like the things that they
Wait, is
wear.
there
The
a-
male league is different though. The
Right.
male league isn't like clothing and things like that. It's equipment.
well,
right.
is there a male league?
Hold on. Can I?
Okay,
That's the
I'll
question
answer
that I
that.
have.
There's. Okay. Let me just.
Answer
I
that
just want.
first.
I just want to answer
Let's
some of the
see if I can
questions.
find the exact-
Okay. For the examples that Joe said, like Team Solo Mid and Cloud9, I'm just saying those two teams, those are privately owned. They are owned by for TSM, the owner of that is Andy Reginald, and he used to be a former professional League of Legends player. He owns TSM. He also owns the team for Counter-Strike because they has a team Counter-Strike. So he made the design, and whatever he wants, that's what his teams have. He also has team members for Hearthstone and whatever, and other teams I don't even know, but those are just what I know. Same thing for Cloud9. Cloud9, their owner originated from TSM. He was like a manager, and Reginald told the manager, he goes, "Hey, you should buy this team and be the owner because I see potential." Manager took the advice from Reginald, and now he's the owner of Cloud9, and Cloud9 has all this. See what I'm saying? So it's like, to me, it's going now to the female. For them to have that, their own thing, it'd have to be a female owner that starts, like, that owns a team or creates a team, and it becomes popular, like TSM or Cloud9. Other than that, it's going to be a company that owns the team and forces the females what to wear or what they want on their
It could
on
be
their
an owner too that
Yeah.
forces them too. I mean,
yeah. But I mean, the thing is, like, if you look at TSM Reginald, he has his logo and it's pretty much simplistic, and the only thing that they have
That's-
that's he obligated
that's
is
one
just
owner.
the
that's one guy though.
yeah. But I'm saying like he's not forcing you like, oh, I want you to wear this exactly like this. It's simplistic, and it just has the sponsors on the
Yeah, but that's one guy. I mean, there's nothing stopping another guy
Another
from
person.
Real quick,
those
everybody, we're
things.
about half an hour into the show, so I'm going to go ahead and start the poll.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
We'll see. That you said you wanted to know if there was like a male
Yeah,
only.
a male only league, not
There-
tournament league.
There has not been a
Legends.
male only league yet. We talked about this on an older podcast on GCube Live, where it's one of those things that kind of goes into the responsibility of the teams, because the teams decide who they add onto their roster, and if we haven't seen like female players hit those big teams yet, because the teams haven't added a female player onto
So
their roster.
would it be okay for a league to not let a woman into a team because she's a woman?
Okay,
No.
just to clarify,
Yeah.
vote 0.
That's
the option
called
for yes.
discrimination.
Yes,
the option
but-
for 0 yes is voting that there should be female specific leagues and not co-ed leagues.
Yes.
Be a male and specific. And vote 1 option no is saying that there should be a co-ed league and not that there shouldn't be female players.
Now, yes.
Okay, I'm about to say because
Yeah.
it's just yes or no on there, and you got to clarify what no means.
Now, I was getting to something.
I was gonna say, is it discriminatory to not let a guy onto an all-female league?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
there should be no gender-specific leagues
No,
because
you
that's
No.
discrimination.
Now you say this,
Yes.
and I'm gonna break down what this. It was basically a very big Hearthstone tournament that was about to occur. I don't think it's happened yet. This was announced back in July, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't think the tournament's actually kicked up yet. But they started a tournament, and females. It was a male-only Hearthstone tournament. It wasn't a league. It was just for this particular. It's an international tournament.
Yeah.
For this particular tournament, it was male only. They would not allow any female entrants.
Why wouldn't they?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Okay. So this is their exact response. They said, let me elaborate a bit on the decision to create both male and female competitions. Now, in this statement, they never once said that they were making a female part to the tournament. They never once did until they received the backlash
Of
from
course.
doing the male thing. But number one, they said promoting female players. We know that esports is largely dominated by male players, and female players are actually a portion of the overall player base. By hosting a female-only competition, we strive to promote female gaming on a global scale. Number two, international standards, which this to me is probably the biggest thing in what we were talking about earlier, me and Tiger Lee were talking about earlier, where it promotes a better community. But what they said was IESF, which is kind of like, think of them as like the the people that regulate sports internationally. But ISF and they're very close to basically to get a esports recognized as a true sport, like it should be. Part of that effort is to comply with the international sports regulation. For example, chess is also divided into male and female leagues. So they were getting at the point where, and this is kind of goes back to when we were talking about with drug tests and stuff. They're trying to conform the esports scene, like the gaming scene, to the same standards that every other sport is, so that they can be treated more seriously. And I get that. Like for the main, like the overall goal at this point for the esports league is to be treated as a sport. There's still so much like controversy in the air between ESPN, like all these other companies are saying, oh well, this really isn't a sport, while poker is still a thing, whatever. So to them, making the two separate leagues made them seem more official, more like every other sport. So I mean, what do you say to that? Because yeah, I get it. Like it sucks. You don't want to have to do that. If you can prevent, like especially in a game like Hearthstone, I can see it in like League of Legends. I can see it in Call of Duty. I can see it in almost anything else. But Hearthstone is like
It's a trading card game. That's
yeah,
how I
like
see it.
that's. I can go to a card shop
Like-
right now and play against some female players that will kick my ass and like any Magic.
That's any-
fucking
that's
Yu-Gi-Oh.
any-
Like, it doesn't
any
get
game, though.
that's anything, and this is no different. So
Yeah.
you have probably the least necessary game now, like having a split.
Like I'll let like here's one thing when what was it I guess what you call the people that trying to legal or that notify
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I do not think that it tries to raise the community for gaming or esports, and here's my reason why. Like okay, if we look at, I'm just saying, the NBA versus the WNBA, two separate leagues. I know it's not gaming.
Two different pay ceilings too.
Yes, pay ceilings. And look at the ratings,
It's another
and just look at the like. If you go to an NBA game, the tickets are expensive. If you go to a WNBA, they're giving them away for free.
Yeah.
There's no. How is that? How is that?
Fair.
How is that fair? And how is it like? Oh, we're trying to spread. Make the community much bigger. It's with all the other. It's not just with NBA and WNBA. It's all other sports. Like, I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to offend anybody. Please, please do not get respect. But
Martin, I hate you.
no. This is just. I'm just saying this is what's just facts, and it just happens.
Yeah.
Like and it's past because
That's the first thing that came to my mind too.
Look at the Women's World Cup. I didn't watch any game except the Women's United States games, and it didn't get any ratings or publicity up until the finals.
And also
have you heard about women's soccer before the World Cup or anything like that?
and-
Like,
Excuse me, it's women's football.
women's
Right.
football.
You're right.
But also on FIFA, the FIFA game for the first time ever this year,
You can
It's
fire
got-
the president of FIFA.
it's got both. It's got both female and male
Guy's an asshole.
leagues.
Yeah.
Which, to me, it's turning around.
Like-
but it
like-
took too long.
Like, I understand what they're trying to say is like, yes, we want to promote and get the community growing bigger, but like in reality, it's really, really not. I think what would spark a little bit of conversation and just like, just better competition, gaming wise. I'm not talking about sports athletically because I think there's an advantage over that. But in gaming, with I'll give you names for Counter-Strike, for Hearthstone, League of Legends, Smite. What else? What other games is that? I guess Guild of Wars. What other that's MLG.
I mean-
or games that are on the
Are you looking specifically PC, or are we talking like?
PC, or it could be
In
it
general.
could, it could
I
be
mean,
it could
you've
be
got-
it could be Xbox, it could be fighting games, any other fighting games.
Yeah.
I think
Fighting games are
females
really bad
can
at this.
play at a competitive level if they're willing to show themselves and put in the work, and they get found at they get found.
yeah.
They get found by somebody. Somebody spots their talent
Honestly, what I think needs to happen, I think what will probably get things, I guess, rolling in the right direction. If they're gonna implement two separate leagues, that needs to be something that maybe is only a timed thing. start off with 2 separate leagues, is what I'm saying.
And then merge them?
And then merge them. And then once they merge them, every player, male or female, has to be held accountable for what they say, how they treat, like, sportsmanship. And
That should be happening now, though.
They do, but it has got to be, like, heavily enforced, because now we had that thing where the guy got banned and immediately got got disqualified and, like, banned from, like, competitive play, and then, like, a couple months down the road, they pulled the ban from him. He came right back.
They pulled it because he appealed, or he didn't.
He didn't. He just kept playing, and they were like, "Oh, good behavior," and they pulled it back. And I'm not saying that shouldn't happen, but that needs to be very rare, because what needs to happen is, as a male player or as a female player, if I get caught saying some bullshit about, like, "Oh, well, it's just because she's a female player," or "I lost," because
or any
I can't
ignorant
believe-"
thing,
any stupid ignorant thing like that, that needs to come down, and that needs to come down hard,
Yeah.
so that the community changes, and they're forced to change. They
Well,
don't have a
All right,
choice.
guys, real quick, just to go to the chat, Peace Monks brings up a point that
What's up?
Money Talks has been commenting on. While on the topic, if you're inviting co-ed sports and such, you're also accepting male versus female in UFC and boxing and other, high
Yes and no.
impact.
and physical. You're talking about physical
Right.
athleticism.
Yes
Yes.
and no, because this
Physical
is only,
contact athleticism.
this is and I believe this is the consistency. This is only something that is considered for non-physical, non-contact.
But at the same time, there are several girls out there who are trying to get involved in co-ed physical contact sports. There are many girls playing high school football right now. I believe there's 2 females playing college football.
Now,
Yeah.
Growing up, I was on co-ed basketball teams, and I was the only girl on an all-male team. And let me tell you, I slugged it with the boys.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
But-
well, NFL. You
that's
brought
what I
up
was
the
going
point
to say.
about the
Yeah,
NFL. Somebody
and
brought up. The
it was
point.
me.
Okay.
I'll take it. Take credit for it. But no, I was going to say the NFL does not have a regulation for no female players. That's not a rule in the NFL. Like, a female player can. It's just that a female player has never qualified or has never, like, played on the same par for a coach or a team, and that's what they say. It could very
Or-
well be that
well,
they're
there's
just-
They don't
Also,
meet their requirements.
they don't meet
or
their yeah.
There's
they-
also politics.
their coaches
yeah,
with
there
one,
is
yeah.
politics, and I think, but what I'm saying is the federation as a whole, like the company or the sport
The
as a
league.
whole, the league does not have a rule. Like, it is
Yeah.
it is not closed to females. It's probably closed to females from the team side, but the league as a whole has done a lot to make it so that anyone has
Honestly,
the
I don't
opportunity.
even know how guys can compete in NFL. Those 300-pound dudes, like
Yeah,
anybody.
I played-
that's, like, it's
I played
nuts.
football for 2 years in high school.
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not doing that. That's
That's
crazy.
great. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Joe, just going back to what you said about the whole starting separately, having an all-female league and then eventually bringing them together, I feel that's actually a really good point. Like, as soon as you said that, I feel like that might actually be one of the only ways to make that happen, the whole co-ed thing, because in order to have all those females that you can kind of, pick from in order to figure out which ones are good enough, well,
Right.
quote unquote, to compete with, all the people who've been, pro gaming for so long, you're going to have an all-female league so that you have so many people that you can actually check out. You can
Exactly.
have, actually compete at these levels, and that way you can start pulling them into this co-ed league. Otherwise you're just kind of scouting out people. You never know if you're actually seeing all the talent that's out there.
Right.
So I feel like that actually might be the only way to do it.
That
My-
well,
No, is it my only problem to it? And I mean, I could be wrong. Is just the amount of talent pool. Is there enough to supply a league?
I think so.
Well, that's how we're gonna find out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna find out. I mean, I don't know. Like what I'm saying is,
Go,
like if we
go on Twitch right now and look at all the people playing League and tell me that those
Oh, yeah.
girls can't
I'll go.
play
Yeah,
against
yeah.
each other.
Yeah,
but
Competitive.
but
I think
but
what
I'm
he's trying to
like,
say is there enough women that are interested and
here like let me say this. Look, let me explain this. Okay, let's say this. Let's say companies and private owners. Let's say we're gonna. It's all hypothetical right now. Just but bear with me in mind that the private owners and companies. We started a co-ed league and we're playing League of Legends. So if we're gonna do a league, we need 10 teams. That means they have to have 5 team members, and so that's 50 players, female players, and then they also have to have 1 or 2 backups. Now, what I'm saying is, are we gonna have enough? There's a lot of females that play League of Legends. Yes, I understand that, but my problem is that there could be is the discrepancy. Like we don't have enough, and the discrepancy of talent level playing. Like let's say one team is stacked and they have 5 challenger females, and then Team B only has like platinum and diamond players. Like the competition level is not going to be the same. It's just going to take a matter of years
That's
until
that's
until
That's how it's gonna have to
organizing.
start, though.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Like,
You got to start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere. Just like you guys were talking about earlier, Jackie Robinson starting there. Like, after that happened, so many other people stepped up because they started it. Like, once you get these females, even if they aren't quote unquote up to par to the male teams that are out there, like, you'll at least have some sort of standard, and then you'll have people who are going to have to be beat in order to get on those female teams. So people are going to step up and they're going to say, hey, I have this skill. Let's see if I'm good enough. They're going to start getting the courage to actually start going up there and competing for these spots on these teams. But you got to start somewhere. Like, it doesn't even matter if they're going to be, platinum players. It doesn't matter if they're going to be silver players.
You can't not start it just because you're afraid of them failing or not hitting a quota.
I
And the
agree.
difference between video games and regular sports is that if I'm going to go compete in the NFL, I have to show up to a practice, I have to go and I have to lift weights and whatever and things like that. When
It's
I'm
a
sitting at my
lifestyle.
computer,
Yeah.
all I have to do is click a couple of buttons, links, load up the game, and boom, I'm competing. It's so accessible that it's not like you're going
It's
out
a
and
lot more
recruiting for these
accessible.
things other than just having a pop-up right there in a game that I'm normally playing and enjoying and loving, and you have no idea how much time and skill that I've put into that.
But we can be very competitive.
I understand what she's saying.
Yeah, I 100% understand what you're saying, and I agree to a point. It is accessible. It is more accessible than it would be for a physical sport. But I will tell you, as a guy, I have tried multiple times to put together a competitive team for Smite. It is increasingly harder and harder.
Well,
And
that's
exhausting.
exhausting. I think that applies to anything. A band,
Right.
anything that you're trying to do seriously, they have to get a group of people. It's hard to find people that are serious.
It took me
to do
3 times to get GQ'd to the point where it is now, and I failed twice before. So it's
But
not
that didn't stop
right.
you,
No, it
you
didn't
know?
stop me at all. I'm just saying it is not. It is not.
Getting people to commit
yeah.
to something like that is a project in and of itself, especially when you don't have something by means of compensation for the time and energy and effort that's
Right.
put into that. Absolutely, but people playing games competitively is a hobby, and that's a little bit different than a business prospect.
Well, I think if you're going to the
It
line
starts
of
off
playing,
as a hobby.
it starts off as a hobby. But the second that you decide that you want to do it professionally, that's when it stops being a hobby.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that
Competitively, not so much. You're right. Competitively, that's still a hobby at that point. But when you decide that you're going to take it to that next level, and you want endorsements and you want sponsors and things like that, that's a job. You're
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you're gonna work harder for it
Right.
because you have all the you're basically your life is gonna revolve around that now. You have a basic need to fill, and that you have to pay for your house and your food and this and that job depends on your income depends on that job. So you take the commitment to a different level.
Right.
I have an idea for how you can make that work, and it's not even so much a time thing.
Mhm.
Like you were saying, have separate leagues, and then after a certain time you merge them.
Okay.
I would say one company has 3 leagues. There's a major league, and then there's 2 minor leagues.
Okay.
Minor league is separated by gender, and then your pool comes from the minor leagues and it goes up to the major league. Ooh!
Hey, we got a follower.
Thanks for the follow.
Who is it?
John Funman.
John man.
Thank you.
Thank you for the follow.
Welcome.
Welcome to GQ.
But I think because that way you're not going to take years to get this done.
Well,
It'll be faster.
Riot
theoretically.
for League of Legends, they do that.
That makes sense.
This is what they do.
And
Let me.
it
I'll
works.
explain. What they do is professional. The League of Legends for Europe and North America. There's 10 professional teams, and there's 10 amateur teams. It's called the Challenger Series.
Okay.
And there's other companies that own those teams. Riot, who owns the league, who is the creators of League of Legends, they made a rule saying there can only be one owner for one specific team because in the
That's
seasons,
so smart.
in season 4 and 3 and 2, there was one owner that owned 3 teams.
Monopolize. You
That
can
is so
monopolize.
Yes.
smart, yeah.
So you can only have one team. And so what the owners are doing is they're selling their team, their challenger, their sister team, the B team, to other owners, and they're keeping their baby, their precious that's in the professional scene because they are getting the sponsors, they're getting the guaranteed money, and they're getting a daily salary. You get a salary, guaranteed
Right.
salary from Riot if you're in the professional scene. Well, this is how it works. The bottom 3 teams that did poorly in the season, because they have a summer and a spring season, the bottom 3 teams get relegated to the Challenger Series, and the top 3 teams, get a chance to go to the professional scene.
So it's
First
like the
place,
Premier League.
yes.
Right.
So if the first place team of the Challenger Series comes in first place, they get automatically bumped up to the professional scene. The last 10th place gets relegated out in the professional scene. Gets relegated out. So first place Challenger, 10th place professional. You guys swap automatically, and then the other two, they have to face off against each other, and whoever wins in a best out of 3 or 5, however it goes, gets either relegated back, or you get promoted to the professional scene. And I don't know about the Challenger scene. I don't know if it's co-ed or it's just all male. I don't know. I don't have any information on that. But I mean, it is. That's how it's run, and I like it. It keeps, there's always new teams fresh, and it keeps the new season for a new hope, new beginning, like new pool of talent.
I
Say
saw
New Hope.
someone. I saw
Yeah.
someone in chat saying where they would prefer to have a team that was on the same level, like as they entered the league.
That was Potter.
That was Potter. And while that's a good idea, I guess, like, kinda, like, I would love to see a team. Well, we've got that now, where it's like one girl, and I think it's one girl and like
4 guys.
4 guys.
Yeah.
Is she on the main roster of that team, or is she like?
Yeah, she's on the main roster.
Okay, cool.
She's on the main roster. She was on the Challenger team Renegades.
I can't. Team
And
Renegade.
they
Do you remember her
were, huh?
Do you remember her name?
No.
I'll look it up.
But I was actually watching the game. She made plays. She can play.
good.
She made plays. Some people, like, here's the thing. I'm not a professional player. I want to, but I can't. But anyways,
Don't put limits on yourself like that.
yeah. But I mean, the thing is, it's just I'm
Lots of
time
dreams be
consistent.
dreams.
I'm
Martin,
time consistent.
I believe in you.
Thank you for believing in me. But going to what I say, I saw her play. She can make plays. Other people who've watched her is like, oh, that play ain't nothing, or I could do that. I see it as either as jealousy, or they're just
Talking shit.
yeah.
Because they're jealous.
But what I'm trying to say is just the whole point is, her and her team beat a professional team in the professional league from a challenger, and they got promoted to the as one of the 10 teams for the spring split, for the spring season, and I think that's just amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, by doing that, she showed that she's capable of playing in the professional. She can do it. She has what it takes.
And this is a quote from her, and her name is Maria Krevling. She says, I just want it to be known that I accomplished my goal for real, and I accomplished it for me, my teammates, and girls in esports. That's it. No one else. Don't fucking put me on some LGBT agenda or some bullshit. Cool for her. I mean,
I read that was she posted on Reddit. Yeah, I read that. What's her name?
You read it on Reddit?
Read it on Reddit.
No, it's on League of Legends Reddit. It was on the front page on one day. It was like a day or two after she qualified for the LCS, and she made a statement about that. And I read that whole statement.
Yeah,
I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her.
Maria
That's awesome.
And the thing that I was talking about this again before was like, if I was really concerned about her going into the league, because she had to be good. Like, she had to be really good. Because if she was mediocre or was bad, like, comparative to, that would have been the end of this. You would have never seen another team.
There's a lot of pressure on her.
There's a lot of pressure on her, which sucks that there was even the case. But I'm really glad that she kind of stepped up.
Now,
to it. But
now I want just to add a perspective. I'm just saying. I know we've been talking more about league and further, but here it is.
This is the point of reference.
Yes. For the sake of the conversation, in South Korea, which is dominantly known as one of the best regions for League of Legends,
right.
all the companies that own the League of Legends team, think of it like this: it's basically, think of it as Verizon, a big company similar to the United States.
Right.
Yeah, yes, giant corporations. Okay, and the best team right now in Korea is SK Telecom, which is a big phone company over there in Korea. Well, companies like that, they have rules and regulations. I'm just saying, if a female in Korea wanted to become a professional player in a professional team, what's her name again? I forget.
Maria.
Maria. I'm just saying she has to beat a bunch of good players. On top of that, they have very, very strict regulations and rules that they have to abide. Like for instance, they have pretty much they work. This is work. Like you're working at least 15 hours a day, which is working, like doing scrims with other teams, reading up on your champions, strategizing, theory crafting. Most companies do not allow you to have a social life. I mean, you cannot have a boyfriend or a girlfriend because I don't know if there's, if you could be gay or lesbian. I'm just saying for over there in Korea, you cannot have a girlfriend if you're a rookie, if you are a first year professional. Most companies will not allow you to have a girlfriend. All those Koreans. The only time you can have a girlfriend is if you can prove you're good and you are successful.
That's crazy.
Like they take it to another level that's hardcore compared to North America, Europe, and stuff like
if
that.
Like
Like
that, make that sacrifice and let them. But
yeah. But I mean, the best player consensus. There's a guy, and he's in South Korea. His name is Faker. He's been good for the past 4 years. He started when he was 18 years old. That's when he became a professional, or 17, because they don't allow you to play professionally and for Riot and for League of Legends until you're 18 years old.
Yeah, it makes
so
sense.
once you hit 17 and a half or something, yeah. So he's been good, and he says he hasn't had a girlfriend ever since he became a professional. He's been doing he talks, he plays.
He's 17.
Well, I mean, when he started, I'm just saying when he started, he's been playing this game for almost 4 years now.
Oh.
So
let me ask you gals,
like,
what do you think? Like, do you think that that's something that, like, if it spills over into the North American scene, that would be an issue? Maybe.
I'm sorry, I'm getting weird noises. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh,
All the girls checked out.
yeah.
social life.
Basically,
No! I'm just kidding.
in Korea, and this is kind of the same thing that I was kind of thinking would happen here, because I'm glad you brought that up, was people that are owned by these huge companies have a lot of, like, rules that are pressed on them. And I think in our culture, like North American culture, I don't think those rules would fly. Like, that's
I know.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
don't think so either.
one of the big ones was that you can't have, like, a not just a social life, but not, like, you can't have, like, a romantic life at all. As a professional player.
Well, now, to be fair, he did specifically say girlfriend or boyfriend. So you may still have a romantic life.
Well, the thing is,
just
I don't
not
know how it
a
is.
significant other.
I don't know
But
how
you
it
know
is
what I'm
in South Korea if it's allowed or not. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I mean, I think that, I don't know. That's hard to say. I think that might be another thing that, we kind of figure out as it went along. But
Yeah, that's.
like that,
I don't know.
but that's
I feel
that's South Korea. I'm just saying.
yeah,
If-
I almost
if-
feel
if-
like it's not legal to do something like that.
Yeah, it's not legal to do
But
it.
here's
Choice.
I'm,
Yeah.
Like that's totally up to, like, the individuals that want to take it to, like, that
Right.
level. Because, like, when you think about Olympic athletes, I'm pretty sure they don't have time to date either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a difference between not having time and not being allowed.
Oh, they have time to date.
But that's if you want to make that sacrifice, that's up to you.
yeah. Like
Kind of
I know Michael
stipulations.
Phelps. Michael Phelps
No
on 60
sex
Minutes.
before a big game.
What was that?
I know.
Kind of like the stipulation, no sex before a big game type thing.
Yeah,
Like a spouse
yeah.
or a partner
Yeah.
or whatever would be a distraction.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey says she has lots of that right before she goes
Yeah.
into her matches to pump up her testosterone.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when she said that, I was literally gonna say. I swear to God, Tiger Lily is like.
She's reading your mind.
She is. It's fucking crazy. I don't like it.
This is energizing. Gosh.
But
Relaxed.
yeah, I think
Focused.
focus. I think
Adrenaline.
I think
Pumped
for
up.
I think for sure, like, I guess let me ask everybody this then. Do you think, which way do you think this is going to go, regardless of what we're talking about today? What do you think, like, will actually happen? Do you think that they're going to actually make two separate leagues?
They'll
Or-
probably do what Riot does and what I was thinking.
I mean, yes,
That-
I mean, we've already got one girl who's in the league. There's no separate leagues right now, and she's there.
Well,
No, I'm talking about like a system of to pull from. I'm not talking about.
here's my thought on the whole thing.
You didn't have time, right?
What's that? I know. I'm just choosing not to use it.
Just saying.
But at the point in time that we're at in professional air quotes gaming,
Yeah.
in order for there to be enough exposure to actually bring on any significant female presence in professional gaming, there would have to be a separate league. Because right now, I mean, for the most part, as Martin said, like, all of the professional teams are more or less filled. And it's not like, not even if they were trying to keep them segregated, but the spots are filled. And until someone leaves a team,
just make
retires,
more
gets
teams.
fired, but there's only so many sponsors in the world. There's only so much money that these companies want to put in. If there was a separate league, that would give the sponsors the abilities to, or bring in separate sponsors who are more female-oriented,
Or the
sponsors like
same
they've done in other sports.
Another thing, just
But it's more exposure for more women, rather than the fact that, yes, you'd get a trickle-in of 1 or 2 or 3, new faces per year. But in order for the exposure to get out there, there would have to be a bigger area.
for league's case, and I hear it a lot. Like, I'm just saying, for players, when most of the time, like I would say 8 or 9 out of 10 times, when they want to get a roster or they want to check out a player or they want to try out a player. From what I heard and read articles and just hearing interviews and watching, just videos on YouTube and stuff, they go by, they'll say, hey, they'll go ask their own teammates, the owner or the coach or whatever, and they'll go, hey, we're looking for this person for our sister team or whatever, this. Who do you think is good? Who have you been seeing on solo queue on the ladder? Who have you been noticing that surprisingly is pretty good? And they'll say, I know this player's name, he's here. They don't know, they just say the name.
This person,
This person's pretty good. You should try him out. Like, has really good skill set, mechanicals, game sense and knowledge, and that person's not on a professional team, not taken or owned by anybody. You should go look him out. You go check them out.
In other
And
words,
then it's just it's basically reference. That's how they're referenced.
And
So
they're referenced genderless, blindly.
Yes,
just by
yes.
handle and their talent.
yes, by other professionals
Yeah.
who are playing against them when they're practicing.
But at the same token, then, if that's the way they recruit new talent, what happens if your team or the people at the top, the current pro gamers, are sexist or wanting to try to put a barrier on females? That's leaving the players to decide who the next talent is going to be.
I mean, but the players know better than the corporations that are the sponsors.
But I understand that. But at the same time, if you're going by just their opinion on who's good, you lead yourself to their bias.
now,
But how do the companies know that this player is good though? Like that's the
You
thing.
gotta be careful with some of that too, because then they're going to open up doors for like discrimination lawsuits and things
Right.
like that. So the corporations are very aware of this as well.
Oh yeah, of course. And plus, the corporations don't care whether they're a guy or a girl. They want somebody that can win.
well, I imagine they do, because like what I was saying before, they care because of the publicity that it will pull.
Image.
The image, and like the image that their product or the company would have
But-
by doing
Because
that.
again,
Would
look
there be
at
a negative against women?
There could be. Like, say for instance, there's I'm trying to think of like there wouldn't be a negative for like I want to use Doritos and Mountain Dew for Call of Duty.
Is it because you're hungry and you want Mountain Dew?
No,
Just
because
use
they're
it.
sponsors
Just
of.
use it.
Just
I'm going to
use-
use it because the advertisement that they use for those things are so male centric. Like, they are extremely male centric. So
I love Doritos.
Yeah.
me too. I do. But like, have you
Getting
seen
those
like
Rainbow
the commercials and
It's
stuff?
not the fact that Doritos and Mountain Dew is gender specific. It's the way that they market them.
Right. The way that
It's-
they market them is what I'm saying. They would have to completely like change that if they're going to use, if one of the people that is sponsoring or showing that product is a female, they couldn't use the same style of advertising.
Well, and another issue that you're going to run into is the fact that right now, as Money Talks has said several times, a lot of what people see as pro female gamers is what they see on Twitch, and unfortunately, the culture on Twitch for female gamers is to what is it called, boobcast?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if I'm an owner of a professional team and Rick says, hey, check out this girl, she's doing well in League, Rick doesn't know who she is, or check out this person doing well in League, and I look them up and they have a Twitch, and I go on their Twitch stream, and it's, like Money Talk said, them with their boobs hanging out, and iTunes in the background, I'm going to immediately say, yeah, you may be platinum, but I don't need you.
Right.
You may be good, yeah.
And exactly, if I'm specifically looking as an owner or as a sponsor to see what female talent is out there, where am I going to go? Am I going to go to random boards where I can't tell what they are? Or am I going to go to a place like Twitch where I can look at a snapshot and see if they're male or female?
Now,
and
hold on,
unfortunately,
hold
on Twitch,
Now, you were saying before, then it boils down to the players deciding this.
that's what he was
Well,
giving
with
that
this-
example.
Hear me out. With that situation, Now, if it's in the realm of a company making that decision, why would the company give a shit? Like I can see
Again, image.
I can see a company finding some boobcaster and be like, holy shit, she's got thousands of people watching
They're
her.
going to look at her numbers. They're not
Right,
gonna
that's
look
what I'm saying.
at
They're
anything
looking at
Well,
the
no,
numbers.
but at the same time, they look at the image because you want to choose what you want affiliated with your brand.
else. Yes, but money talks. No pun intended.
No, but okay. On top of what I just remembered, another thing that another way that they recruit is that, like I said, there's 5 members to each team, and they have like 1 to 2 backups. Some of them have 3 or 4 or 5. Some people that you could also recruit the backup of another team, because like I said, the player wants to play. They don't want to be on the bench. They want to play.
Yeah.
So they may not be looking at the challenger teams or the players coming from the talent pool from the league ladder. They may say, listen, this guy's already considered and has reference as a professional. He's a substitute for on a premier team right now. And we already know their gender because they're notified.
No.
They already know.
Okay,
And
but-
that's how they get replaced too.
But what do you girls think about what the Twitch community is doing as far as for female gamers?
Be more specific.
Well,
Yeah.
like
Is it called
the image that the
Maybe.
Twitch community is producing for female gamers.
I don't think that that's Twitch producing that. I think that.
Well, I
that's
mean,
each
like, that's why I said the
individual's
Twitch
channel
community, not
producing
Twitch.
that. Huh?
I said that's why I said the Twitch community and not Twitch itself.
I wouldn't even say it's the Twitch community. I think the wonderful thing about Twitch is that I
Internet just died.
have the power and control to run my channel the way I choose, and I choose not to overexpose my body because I don't believe in that and I'm not comfortable with that. And there are women that do, and they've got it and they flaunt it, and I might not agree with that, but I don't necessarily think that it's this horrible thing either. Because I do think that like having positive female body image is such a huge issue for women in general that has nothing to do with gaming like at all. And I've seen women of all shapes and sizes on Twitch, and however they choose to promote themselves on their channel, as long as they're not nude and as long as they're not flashing them for money, which is a form of like prostitution and stripping, whatever, that's your choice.
As long as it doesn't break terms of service.
Yeah,
Right.
terms of service.
Yeah.
Mark was saying earlier, where he was saying any one of those 2 styles of like kind of implementing it would be better than what we have. My concern is that the style where the company has control over it, that's going to be super sexualized because they don't give a shit.
Well, at
about
the end of the day, the companies are always going to have the power.
The companies are going to be more interested in profit
Yeah.
than
Exactly.
like an image, and I
Yeah.
agree with you, Joe. And I think that that's scary because then, like, you could take somebody like me or Kaya who would never do that,
Right.
and say, "Well, you're going to do that because it's your job and we're paying you," and
Yeah.
that
I'd
gets
quit.
very, very, very scary.
I mean, you would
I
quit.
quit.
You would quit. But what happens if enough people don't? Now you've got like basically
A standard.
a standard, and like
Oh, you got pressure, but
and you're never going to grow from that. Like if the second that happens, that segregation that you have between the 2 leagues, you're never going to, like when I was talking about before, where it starts off in 2 separate leagues, so you can build the talent for both realms and then get them together. There's never going to be a point where they're going to combine because they're making so much money while they're separated. So there's no incentive for them to do that.
well, we live in a world where money controls everything, so there's no escaping those types of things.
My thing is like for a company like who sees what goes. I understand the company wants to make money, but I think in general, I think the company would make more money. It's like, should I hire this female? Let's say she wants to be like, I'm just saying, showing her breast and cleavage and stuff like that and stuff. Oh, she has a lot of viewers. She can make me this amount of money. Or do I want a professional, like I'm just saying, a girl gamer that can compete at a high level and make money for my team, and it just advertise like
You know what? You know what they're going to look for? They're going to look for the person that can do both.
Yeah.
what I mean.
They're going to hire both.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, in the reality of it, sex sells.
Right.
And every guy and some girls love seeing attractive women. playing video games. It's the same thing for attractive men too. Like I think there's a streamer called Handsome Cal. He is amazing to watch because he is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And
why.
that's the sole
Am I gorgeous?
That's
When I
why-
play Hearthstone?
That's why shows like Arrow
He's a-
are so popular. Is
he's-
because
he's
there's a lot of
he's
good-looking guys.
He's a good, awesome dude.
It's both ways, honestly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's both ways, and it sucks because, like we were talking about earlier, I would rather, have the viewers and have like the promotions and all this shit because of my skill, because of what I'm able to do, not because I have like giant tits and a small waist
what
and I
if-
can make some loser in his mommy and daddy's basement get a boner.
I was gonna say,
Straight
hey,
up.
boners happen. I can't control them. Okay?
It's in my
Are
hormones.
kind of like they're up in front in like the attention in the media right now, but I don't think that that's a vast majority by any means on Twitch. I think you're talking about a very, very small portion of female gamers, female, streamers and things like that.
Yeah.
I can name off 10 female streamers right now off the top of my head that don't
do that.
promote that image by any means, and they're phenomenal at playing games and things like that. So don't let those females make you think that that's primarily what's going on here in the community, because it's not.
Yeah.
My problem is, it's not primary, but holy
It's
shit,
so bad.
when those channels explode, or when those like people explode, they do. And I'm not saying that they should be shut down. They shouldn't.
No.
Because if that's the product that they would like to sell, it's a free country. Let them sell it. That's
And
great.
If people want to,
And if people want to
support
enjoy
it, they
what
can
I'm
support
saying,
it.
what I'm afraid of is that kind of thing, because it sells, means that a company would be very, very like enticed to be a part of that. They would want a cut of that money, and if that happens,
Joe,
the
do you
leagues are screwed.
remember a couple of years ago, and I just looked it up,
Mhm.
Ubisoft used to do this, and it was basically like a female sorority, and it was called Frag Girls. And you can look it up.
I have the
it's
page
Ubisoft-
pulled up
you
right
can
here.
just Google
This is
Ubisoft
fucking
Girls.
scary, alright? You need to stop this, alright? This is terrible. This is
Oh my
ridiculous.
God.
I literally have the page pulled up on my laptop, like Frag Girls. Like,
That's so funny because I've had it pulled up here the whole
me
conversation.
too. I've had this thing. Remember
And,
the
and
last?
that is it's a very real part of the community, and that happens, and it's like I said, it's almost like a sorority of these pretty girls,
said frat
and
girls, not
they
frat.
can barely game, but they're always at Ubisoft events. They're promoting their games. They're getting people and crowds attracted to talk about the
Right.
games. They're running their photo booths, their giveaways and things like that, and they're also introducing you to the game.
Right.
But then you go inside and it's some dude talking about
Exactly.
how he made his game
Yep.
or giving you a demo of it. So it's always really funny, but like it's always going to be in the industry. Period.
Now,
The
that
sex
being
sells.
said, Frag Dolls website doesn't exist anymore. They don't like Frag Dolls.
Just their YouTube channel.
Just their YouTube channel. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, that's because like a lot of bands and stuff do the same thing. They don't even have websites; they just do social media.
I think that's stupid, but okay.
It's because well, if you're in a band, you're not making money. So
It's very cheap.
Okay, let's talk about the channel.
It's very cheap to run a website, and you need your own space on the internet. But that's a whole nother subject.
yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna go ahead. Joe's transparent.
That was- wow.
2 minutes. We'll close the polls out. We're running to the end of the show.
Martin's trying to say
No,
something.
I was
Sorry.
gonna say I just wanted to answer your question. How you said the question was, what do you want it to happen in the near future? Me personally, I think there should not be it should just be a co-ed league in gaming, in esports, in the major games, because I don't see that there is I'm just saying I don't see a competitive advantage that males have over females or females have over males.
Vice versa, yeah.
And they could play, and it's just proven in League of Legends that a female can make it to the pro league with playing that. And I just say that because the reason why I say that, because if there was a co-ed, I brought up my point earlier about I know you have to start somewhere and everything like that, but at the same time, I also said earlier, look at the WNBA and the NBA, and I say this because the companies, ESPN, and like other companies that want, like, we as a community, regardless if you're male or female, we want gaming to be a thing. We want it to be the next thing. We want its exposure. We want esports to be a thing. And if, let's say, we have this amount of people watching the males play, and then not the females are not pulling that much, or just because it's starting off slow, and it's just because you have to start somewhere. I get that, I understand that. How long, no one's gonna that's why, and because I think females can play with males in the major game, in any of the major Hearthstone,
and I
League of
get
Legends.
that, and that's why I was thinking that having 2 minor leagues and a major league for a company would be the greatest compromise for people that. If you want to grow that demographic, you can grow it that way, and then at the same time, you can have a co-ed league.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if the scene gets big and a lot of females start joining, and they they get motivated or inspired, like, wow, she made it to the person I want. Then we get more and more and more, and then once we get that snowball effect, then we can have a co-ed. We can have 2 separate leagues, a male and female, and we could have a co-ed league, I guess, if you wanted to, at the same time. I mean,
my problem is right now, the way things are, by all intents and purposes, is not segregated. Everything right now is open up for both male and female.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't
it's not
work.
working right now.
But here's the thing: esports is still young. It's not that big.
I'm not even talking about esports. Let's take that away, even though that is the main thing that we're talking about. Let's take that away and let's look at the fighting game scene. It doesn't work. And it's not because there's obviously a lot of females that play these games. The environment just doesn't make itself conducive for that. So what?
Yeah, but
I'm saying
you can't be the person to be like, she can't handle it. She has to make the decision whether or not she wants to play co-ed or not.
Well, then what?
But if you're not inviting her into it, why the hell is she gonna go speak up and waste her time?
If she,
that's just stupid.
No. I'm talking about in a co-ed. It should be co-ed. So you should be invited into it.
It should be, but it's not.
But it's not right now.
Okay.
It's predominantly male, and everything that we've been talking about tonight is the exception to the rule. There's always one female leaguer, like Major League Gamer. There's one female at the Evo tournament who made it so far as to get into the finals and things. Like we're talking about the exceptions. So the community still is not there for women in esports. It's just not there right now, and we need to open up the door. And how do you open up the door and start building those steps to get it to the point where you have a completely co-ed league and everybody's competing fairly within one another? And we have not got to that point yet.
Okay. My thing with the fighting thing is, how long has the fighting scene been going on for?
Well, the fighting scene's been going on for a long time.
Okay,
long
now, listen.
What
in
fighting
reality,
games are you talking about, though?
and
We
all
can
of them.
start
I'll say all of them. I'll say all of them.
Fighter.
I'll say all of them. Let's just say all of them. Okay, they've been
That would
on.
be an
How long has
injustice.
League of Legends? I'm just saying. The reason why I keep bringing this up is, in reality, this is just the fact of the matter. If it's not bringing the numbers, they're not. Esports is never going to get big. Esports represents everything. The fighting genre, MOBAs, first-person shooters, third-person shooters, Hearthstone trading card games, RTSs. I'm saying that if we have girls that can play with males in a professional team, it will bring more females to come play esports. It will make esports community even bigger and more noticeable and recognizable. That's what I'm
The community
agrees
is
with that
absolutely
part.
toxic, though, in most of these games.
That's the problem. And I hear you. You are 100% right. Yes, if that happened, great. But in the world that we live in reality, it's not happening. It's not happening, and it's not happening because the community isn't working. Now, so what I'm suggesting, if we want to do everything now, if we don't want to separate them and then bring them back together later to build up an audience in the female crowd, that's fine.
Baby steps.
Honestly, I think
Well,
if you separate it, it will stay separated.
That's the fear. That's the risk.
I think that's what would happen.
But hear me out. If we're not going to do that, then there really needs to be serious repercussions from any player, any company, anybody that does any kind of discrimination. That has got to be severely handled.
And the thing is, I don't think it would merge for those reasons.
Okay.
I think it would merge for the reasons that they already don't feel invited and comfortable. Players are going to be players.
Right.
And there's only so much you can control. And there's only so much that's going to be reported. Yes, when something gets reported, it should be the hammer should be dropped. But how many times are things going to happen that don't get reported?
Yeah. What was that?
Oh, I was just
He had
gonna
a
say,
question.
I'm an avid Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3 COD player. I love my FPSs, And every single time that I go into a game like that, I kick ass. Like, I mean, I'm top of the board, I'm in a clan, and I'm great. But the second that you find out I'm female, shit just blows up. Oh my god, I can't believe I got beaten by a girl. You gotta be fucking hacking. You're not really a girl. Well, your boyfriend must be playing for you. You're just talking in the microphone. Like, what is this shit?
Well, I think that's just trolling.
No, I don't.
But it's constant.
It's too common.
What is it? Gamergate. Look at Gamergate and look at the hatred that is directed towards women. Whether you're playing the game, developing the game, or anything like that, it's real and it's scary. These people are threatening you. They're threatening your families.
Right.
They're finding out where you live, your phone numbers, all things like that. Like it just.
Yeah.
You know, like it's so real. It's not just trolls. It's not very specific. That's as big as the women who are showing their tits. Like that's such a real part of the community.
It's so common. I think that's the problem. Is it's not something like I can turn on my Xbox and play, or you guys can turn on your Xbox and play, or computer, whatever. And you have the chance of it happening. It happens. It's so common.
It's not a 1% chance. It's going to be there. No matter
guaranteed.
What. The second you speak, you have some little asshole that just says something really, really mean, and then it escalates and it escalates and it escalates, and it stops people, especially women, who don't want to be victimized and don't want to be threatened and yelled at and called names and insulted. Go into these places that, like, I love playing video games. I know lots of women who love playing video games, but we don't want to sit there and be called fat whores and this and that and this and that because we're playing a goddamn game.
Right.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if we're not going to separate them in the fear that they will stay that way, which is a very high possibility that will happen, then the only possible way to invite or make the scene a little bit more inviting is you've got to enforce some pretty heavy penalties.
Of course.
Like, and it's not
That's
something.
that's anything. If you want to make any kind of work environment safe for people of any race, gender,
But I don't know
religious
if
background, you have to do that.
there's so much like crap about like I remember somebody, I forget who was telling me that. Somebody was explaining to me somebody got banned from playing League of Legends because of something that he said to somebody else, and his excuse for it, which I think he did get reappealed and he can play again, but his excuse for it was like, you made a game around like bad talking and like shit talking. It's like, the games are never made around that. People do that.
Yeah.
And I think what has to happen is like, if anything like that happens, even like a smidgen of it, like that person's got to be gone. And yes, that means that
Basically,
somebody's gonna have to be made
a no
an example
tolerance
of.
policy.
Yeah, somebody's gonna have to be made an example of, and to be quite honest, as long as you're not an asshole, you're not gonna be the example. So
half the time though, nobody gets banned or nobody gets anything like that. Like, I've reported so much shit up with screenshots, recordings on fraps or whatever when I was playing Battlefield, or even Tribes way back in the day. Not one person got reprimanded for treating me and my other female gamers the way that they were. And not one single thing.
That's the issue. Is like there isn't a heavy enough or enough.
No one's being held accountable.
Nobody's being held accountable for this stuff. And yeah, I don't expect it to happen overnight, especially for casual gaming. But in the professional league, that pops up.
Well, in professional league, you have the power to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people make the rules, they can enforce them.
Sorry.
That was He-Man, not Thundercats.
I don't care.
Yeah.
But I think Neil had a question from one of the what was it?
Well, way long ago in the time way
in the
back,
galaxy far, far
Sick
away.
Pirate had a question.
Yeah.
What was the question?
He was asking whether or not we all, including you ladies, feel that female gamers are misrepresented, or if they are just not quite at the level yet to be in the pro leagues.
Well,
Misrepresented.
how are they being
Big time.
represented?
Misrepresented.
I had a stat here that I wanted to find.
How?
And He-Man is not sexist,
I said,
but he
how
talks. He was
are
like
they
the
being
first openly
represented?
gay superhero.
Like,
So here's a fun like number thing that's pretty insane. Now this is not considering the professional scene. This is just gaming as a whole. 52% of gamers are women. 52.
yeah,
So they are the majority.
That's their majority in life.
Now, exactly, and it makes sense that translates over the games.
Yeah.
But now in the professional league, that number dips, but it's only to 48%. So like,
Wait, what?
Not professional, I should say, like in competitive games,
Okay.
as I should say. That number dips, but like not by much. I mean, so.
Well, that obviously shows that there would be enough of a
Exactly.
pool to
Like-
have a second
So when
league.
hold on, I just want to understand. When you say competitive, they
So,
just
yeah.
they play it to they play to win, but it's not a professional
Right, at a professional
league or
league
team
level.
or.
Now that could
So
be
now the question is, how do you open the door to get them to brave out into competitive gaming?
And-
Because, like Rick said, the pool is there.
Make it
issuing
lucrative.
issuing those.
It's
I think you're right, Neil. I mean, I don't know if you said that in jest or not, but like,
No, I was.
What did you?
honest.
I missed it.
He said
I
to
said
make it lucrative.
Oh, yeah.
I
If
think
it's not worth your time, you're not going to bother. If the fact that right now the world is toxic towards female gamers,
And
it
they
makes
can't-
it extra hard for them to want to put the effort into
Yeah.
putting themselves out there like that. So in order to balance the scales, you have to make it more lucrative for them to put themselves out there to the negativity.
I mean, the problem with that then becomes then you have the same problem that you have right now in like the real world
Wage
workforce,
imbalance or
where you have
whatever?
wage imbalance. So I don't know if that needs to,
wage inequality.
wage inequality. You're right. We're PC.
Welcome to the
right
PC
now.
show.
I know, right? But no, the only thing I can think of is harsh penalties. You can't make them make more money. I guarantee you that sponsors and companies that like sponsor teams will probably invest more money in that.
Of course.
Somebody's going to want to be the first person on the right side of this argument, instead of everybody just kind of keeping to the norm.
Speaking of the argument, I'm closing the poll.
People want to be the first person noticed
Right.
on the right side of the
world first.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if that. No one. Okay. Cool. So you guys, the majority of people.
Co-ed.
How many people voted for yes? I'm curious.
5,967. So it doesn't show me. Where's it
Doesn't
show?
show.
Me?
Should be on the left side.
Oh, here we go. 4. It was 4 to 5. So
Oh, wow,
it was
that's
close.
close. Yeah.
Wow.
pretty close.
So what was it? Who won?
no one.
So no,
Co-ed,
no
co-ed.
would be is pro
Co-ed.
co-ed.
Yeah, they'd be
Yeah,
pro.
or you're anti having a female only.
Oh, okay. So they want to have it co-ed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Which
Well, to be fair, the question was, do you want only segregated or do you want co-ed without mention of like any type of minor league like
Yeah,
co-ed,
right.
like,
And
like separation, and
That
I
was-
actually think that Rick had a great idea there.
Thank you.
I think for females to get spotted and get noticed and to get like League of Legends and esports and other games noticed, like to get more females in, they should do what this is me personally. This is what they should do with what they did with the NFL. In the NFL,
okay.
when the season is over, as soon as, because there's 17 weeks in the season, the next day, because football's over on Sunday, Monday, it's known as Black Monday because head coaches get fired. A bunch of head coaches get fired. So a bunch of coaches get fired, and over the summer they get replacements. So the NFL made a rule, and it's called the Wayne Rooney Rule. And the Wayne Rooney Rule is, before you hire a new coach, you have to interview at least one minority coach of any color. Because if you look at it, most coaches in the NFL are white. I'm not trying to bring race into esports, but what I'm trying to say is they should implement a rule, kind of like the Wayne Rooney Rule, where they should have at least one female on the company or the team in some way, shape, or form. If there's a substitute, as an analyst, as a coach, as something.
I disagree.
Don't
with
think
Well, I mean,
you have to
I
go
don't
that
know.
route.
I don't know
think
how.
What you should probably do is when there's an opening, you should probably have to take applicants rather than just go out there and pick. Like you have to go through a lot of companies do. They do it with headhunters.
Right.
Like they post that there's an opening on the team, and they let people apply, and then they have headhunters go out and pick people themselves,
Right.
and then they compare both the applicants and the selected people, and that's how they choose. So as long as you're allowing females to apply,
Right.
and as long as you're not excluding females from what the headhunters choose from, you're completely perfectly fair and legal.
Right.
Yeah, like
that's what I think they should do. Not where the point where they have to have.
Yeah,
someone
have
in
to
mind.
is a terrible idea.
That's not
I'm
fair.
saying, what I'm saying is like they have to at least interview them.
No,
No. You don't have to interview. You have to present the same opportunity. If they apply, interview them. But if they don't apply, then there's no need to go out of your way to find them.
That's what I'm saying. Your suggestion is what I'm agreeing with.
Yes.
What he's saying is what it is right now. Right now, they have to interview like a minority, which is, in my personal opinion, bullshit. If you're not qualified for the thing, then I shouldn't be interviewing you.
Well,
No,
they're
but-
probably interviewing somebody that's
No,
qualified.
listen, here, no, listen, let me explain.
that's
No,
the
here's-
thing. That's the idea.
Hold on.
That's the idea. But
Yeah,
what
yeah.
happens when there isn't a minority that's qualified? Now I have to interview this.
Yeah,
guy
then
and
they
waste
have to
my
just
time.
go through the
No,
motions.
but here's the thing. No, this is the thing. Like you're misunderstanding in the NFL. Okay, if you look at the sport NFL, it is predominantly dominated by African Americans.
Right. And then
Okay,
the coaches.
and some of the players ends up becoming coaches.
Right.
Now, this is what I'm saying. Before the Ray Rooney got took into effect, and this is what happened. Black Monday comes around. 8 coaches, let's say, get fired. By the end of the week, they're already new coaches already hired, and none of the minority coaches get even interviewed, or their whatever resume gets looked at. They already present.
They're already qualified.
They already have one already hired before they're even looking. So the guy who's applying, the minority coach who's applying, just wasted time, money, and paper.
Oh,
Fair.
I see what you're
So
saying.
what
Fair.
the Wayne Rooney is you cannot instantly just hire a coach, or like the owner or the GM cannot have a preemptive already. Oh, this guy got fired. I want this guy to coach.
Well,
my
they
team.
already do, though.
I know that,
They
but
already
they
do.
have to get interviewed. They
Right.
have to get interviewed, so they get what's it called, notice. And
I
they may
guess-
not get the head coach. They could get the defensive coordinator position. They could get the offensive coordinator. They get the special
They get their
teams.
foot in the door.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to like. That's
I
what I'm
mean,
trying. Something like that in the esports.
Shouldn't just be picked because he's already there.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that's what I'm trying to say.
But
If
yeah,
that makes sense.
that's lazy
No.
hiring.
Yes,
yeah.
that is.
But yeah, I mean, I think that kind of brings us. I don't know if you have any other extra points that you have written down there.
No, honestly, I had other points, but we flowed right into all of
Okay,
them.
Oh,
sweet.
okay.
Awesome.
So that was good.
Well, I would like to thank you, ladies.
Yes, thank you.
So
This
much.
is a good. This is a
awesome.
very good
Appreciate
episode.
it.
Round of
How-
applause.
How do you
Thank
guys
for
feel
sure.
about the episode?
Liked it.
A relief?
A release.
Something
Yeah.
off your chest?
Why are you gonna bring up chests?
I'm gonna,
Well, that's how the
RKO
saying
a
is
couple
going.
of
Or
you
something
the
off
next
your
time I
back?
see
Say what?
What was that?
you. I'm gonna RKO a couple of you the next time I see you.
Why is that? I thought we were on the same wavelength here. Is
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
it's
getting
not
it.
you, Joe.
Okay, all right. As long as I'm not getting our.
Is it
Probably-
me?
It's probably me.
Is it me?
It's probably
totally
me.
joking. No, I just need to remind you guys that we are a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've had the same thought pattern throughout the whole thing, and then when at the beginning what Tiger and Muffin both said about actually having a female league to open up to others, I didn't think of that at all, and I'm actually glad that you guys said that, because I honestly didn't even think of that. I just thought about the sexism part of it.
Yeah.
And now I'm really glad that you guys
That's
said it. because-
that's awesome.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
That's awesome. And
That's
that's
my female league.
Alright, let's kick their ass.
that was the reason why I really wanted to have this episode, was because I knew there were things that I hadn't thought of, like you guys probably had, and there's absolutely no way I would have thought of like some of the stuff from the female perspective, because I'm not female. So
Now, Joe.
no, as far as I know, I'm not.
I think you guys have good ideas, but I think there still has to be something, like I said, to open the floodgates
Right.
to allow women to feel comfortable to come in, and that is something that I don't think. I'm gonna apologize because it's gonna sound sexist. I don't think a male is gonna be able to figure that out very well, because you guys have some very strong points. That was pretty sexist. You guys have some strong points, but then there
Shots
was so many
fired.
that I was like, that wouldn't make me want to like be like a female gamer, and like there were some times where I was like, that's almost like insulting. So. Like, open the doors, get them invited in, make it warm, friendly, make it a loving environment, and you'll see just females just pop up left and right who you didn't even know were on the map.
And have the actual repercussions of people who were going to shit talk and
That's what I
attack
think.
the female people in there, because sexism works on both ways, right? Most guys don't think girls are up to par. Most guys think that girls suck, and most girls believe that guys think the exact same. Not
so
all guys think that girls are bad.
no, and like the thing was, and I made a point to never say that these repercussions need to be in place for guys that bad talk women.
Anyone.
It needs to be both ways. But
Exactly.
they need to be
Women
harsh.
bashing women is unacceptable as well.
Yeah.
Women bashing guys needs to be gone too.
Women bashing bad
Like-
guys is just as bad.
Bashing, just bashing.
Just bashing in general.
It
You're
is
right.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Attacking another person, just no.
The overall rule here is don't be a dick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be a douchebag.
You
Live life.
nice.
You guys.
Alrighty. Do we have any? Do you guys want to rep anything?
Maris had a quick question.
Oh jeez.
Let me, all right, let me ask you guys this: if they had a female-only league and they wore all bikini tops and sucked at the game, would you watch it? I would not. Who wants to see shitty player? I probably wouldn't watch that. I think we kind of talked about that earlier, though, too.
Most people would watch it just for the simple fact that they're girls in bikinis. They wouldn't even be paying attention to the game.
Well,
Most guys would be watching just because.
Well,
oh,
it
look,
depends on where the camera-
are bouncing.
that's not necessarily true because if that was the case, ESPN would have a wall-to-wall coverage of like
the
beach
lingerie,
volleyball.
lingerie bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lingerie bowl. Wow.
At the
thing-
same time, it's like like they have to put the cameras on the girls playing the game because they don't put when you're watching league. They rarely have it on the player. It's the map
Always on
and
the
the
game.
mini map,
Yeah.
and so you don't even see them playing.
Yeah, yeah,
you just
yeah.
say this is what they look like before game, and then 50 minutes of
goes to the
gameplay, and you don't even see them.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like
I got a strike and a nip slip. Like,
Yeah. Like I don't think anything like that would be really super lucrative because that would completely sully the brand of whatever company is sponsoring that. So it would immediately no business person with enough common sense would buy into a thought like that. So, and right now what we're saying, kind of wrapping things up, is it's going to take someone. Tiger Lily doesn't think the dude will be able to do it. I personally think that it can happen. I just think that somebody with the right head has to get at the top of some of these companies and leagues to kind of organize things. Because right now it's all about money, which it honestly probably should be. I mean, the money is very important and keeps things going. But if they want to invite a more female-centric kind of player base, there's got to be some pretty harsh rules or some big rule changes. And enforcement's the big thing because some of the rules already exist. It's just nobody's ever enforcing them.
like
So I think it can be done. I think it can be even done with the infrastructure that we have right now. I think that's possible. It's just we need somebody.
You have to
It has
have.
to be done, and I think the females that are in there have to have some thick skin, because if you're gonna go in there
Yeah.
and you're gonna be really sensitive to that kind of stuff, it's not gonna work out for you.
Right.
yeah, like as some
I
of the
think that's
professional
any kind of competitive thing
Yeah.
that was like that though. I think.
but like
it does need to die down, though. It really does.
yeah, what I was gonna add was is that right now esports in North America and in Europe, I still think it's still in its infamousy years. Like it's still young compared to Korea, South Korea. They've been doing that since in the 90s. And so if you look at they're like 10 years, they're about a decade ahead of us in esports, and they have the infrastructure already set. I don't know if they have, professional co-ed, leagues over there. I don't know anything about that, but like Joe said, they need to harden on the rules. They need to there's a lot of kinks. It's not just rules on people bashing on other people, but setting up rules and everything. But at the same time, right now, currently at this moment in time, the companies are just trying to get big. They're trying to get noticed. They're trying to get esports big, whatever it takes. They're selling out Staples Center. They're selling out at soccer stadiums. They're trying to get publicity.
yeah.
They're trying to get notified worldwide. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be a process, and it's gonna take some time.
I know everyone always says like the esports is really small or really young, and that's right. But I always point the finger back at the fighting game community. That thing's been around for years, decades.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one thing that's been because that's
it's,
stuff.
It is bad. Like
That's-
really
Yeah, yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Like
At the same time, I mean, when you're doing anything that aggressive, it builds up a lot of
Shit talk.
I wasn't there for the
in your body.
I wasn't there for the fighting scene or anything, but I believe that it was there before.
But here's
when
the-
you
but
come with me, when you come with me to OIX, watch.
yeah.
I guarantee it is.
But it
bad.
like I said,
Yeah,
but like I
it's a
said,
bunch
it
of
rolls.
machismo everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, but it like I said, it goes back to the attitude of the scene and stuff like that. And can it produce? Does it show potential numbers? Because that's what big companies want. Like, do you think like NBC, ABC, all these national television, they're going to say, wow, esports is getting really, really big. Do we want to spend money to have a separate segment on our network to televise them? No, they're not showing numbers. It's not promising.
But that's not where like their revenue is primarily coming from. And
No.
I was watching another debate where they were talking about how esports is primarily an like instant access thing.
Right.
Like that community is not watching it on television.
Right.
They're on their computers. They're on their mobile phones.
They
they're
don't
on
need
their
TV.
laptops.
Right.
Like
They don't
Yes.
need
it's not
TV.
on
I don't
TV.
have
It's
cable.
not
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
be like
I don't need
successful on TV.
Yes, but in South Korea, I'm just saying, like I said, they're 10 years ahead of us. It's national televised over there. In
Right.
prime time
But
hours.
that's their culture,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's been like ingrained there. And I just
Yeah.
don't think it's gonna get
It's
like
not the
that
same.
here in America. And
Why
I just
not?
think that in America
Because-
we're gonna switch
Because
primarily
TV's
to
going to be irrelevant.
the
soon.
internet for
Right.
all the content.
That's why.
I mean, look at all these things
What?
that have,
No, because why? When it's I look
For
at
the
it, and
age,
it's
for the
but-
age range for gamers and and then even
For
lower
games,
for,
yeah.
for
I think-
competitive gamers, TV's going to be irrelevant.
I think, to me personally, this is my opinion. I think we're living in an age where anything is possible, and everybody has an open mind.
No.
Because-
no,
like,
no, no,
I
I'm
think-
not- no. See, you're taking it the wrong way. You're thinking,
Yeah.
oh, it's gonna be TV. That's the big time. I'm telling you, TV's not the big time.
anymore.
Exactly.
No, I'm saying it. I'm like I'm not saying that it's the big time. I'm saying it could get to that point where it's gonna be on internet and on TV. You could do whatever, however you
Yeah,
want to watch.
but I don't think that it. Honestly, I don't. It doesn't need TV.
Exactly.
I think it's better for it to not be on
Yeah, on
TV.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Mark was saying that how Evo had more viewers on Twitch during its programming than it did during primetime hours on television. Like that's the kind of thing, because it doesn't translate. Like gaming has not translated well to TV, because look at G4, look at all these channels that were on TV that died, and their audience left them. They didn't die. They had kids, and like those kids are still playing video games and stuff. They just have migrated over to the internet.
Oh, yeah, other forms of.
So,
It's
I
just
mean-
another. It's just another avenue to get
Right.
your content.
Right. It's the reason why we're not like trying to broadcast on some channel. Like our content.
Public access.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That'd be pretty
Wayne
funny.
World.
And there's so much more
Joe's World!
content online than you can if
Right.
you're selling it out to television rights and things like that. Like Twitch has so much control over their advertisements,
It's all good,
over
Muffin.
like
It's all good.
like quality things like that, because it's on Twitch versus if they were to sell it off to like ESPN.
But like my thing is like I'm just saying for esports. Let's say we're going to Madison Square Garden where they just play. Let's say it's really huge. You don't need to. A big television company, ESPN, can just send their cameras over there and then they just show it on TV during their own hours. If esports ever gets that big, I mean, just saying. Like
But
I think the internet's gonna be the next thing. I think TV will die out soon. I do think that.
Pretty
It's
cool.
already
But
done.
Well, we're leading into another debate for another
Yeah, yeah,
topic.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that is true. That's another topic we.
Well,
That can be next week's topic.
thanks everybody for joining us, and
Yes.
thank you, ladies, for being
If
on
you
our panel.
if you're in chat right now and you have not followed these wonderful women, please do that.
Tell them how.
They're in chat. Muffin Button's there. Tiger Lady's been typing in there. All you gotta do is click on their name. You click follow, and
Boom.
we'll all be happy.
And don't bash them.
Yeah, if I catch you bashing them, I'll bash
We'll bash you.
We'll
Fine,
bash
we'll
you.
eat them alive.
Kaya's there. Yeah, I
Them
mean,
for breakfast.
but thank you. Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Maris. Go follow them. I really, really do appreciate you guys coming out and joining in the debate.
Saturday.
All right. So there's been some questions as to what we're doing on Saturday, because we're not doing it at like the normal GCube Live thing. So we're going to be on site at OIX, which is Orlando International Digital Expo. We'll get
It's a
some.
mouthful.
Yeah, no, and there's no D in it. It's like OIX. Whatever. We're gonna finally get our hands on some Vive. I know Mark got his hands on the Vive and some VR. I have not yet, so I'm really excited about doing that. We'll also be covering the events for Powder Keg Games. If you were with us a couple months back, I want to say last year. Man, it's been a long time. No, maybe it was. Yeah, it was last year. If you were with us last year, we covered some of their events before, and they're really good friends of ours. So we'll be covering their fighting game tournaments, mainly Smash Brothers, starting on Saturday, and then going through Sunday. So Saturday, we'll be there. I'm going to be there Friday through Sunday regardless. Help them out with some stuff, and then Saturday we'll try to have the broadcast on. So expect to see us not live at 10:30. We'll probably be live a lot earlier than that. It's going to be a long day. So yeah, it'll be fun, and it'll be a little bit. If you haven't seen us cover like a tournament or event like that before, it's very fun. It's a lot of excitement, especially the powder keg guys. They do some crazy stuff. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Alrighty, dudes. I think that's it. You guys have a good night. Thanks again for joining us and tuning in.
No problem. Have a good night.
You too.
Take care.
All right.
Thanks.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.